Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for a Scrapbook Sunday tutorial. This is not a typical tutorial, but what I want to share with you is a page that I created for OnStage display stamping for Salt Lake City. I created this scrapbook page and I have already put it together because unfortunately crafting for my onstage projects took a lot of time in the middle of the night and I didn't always film a video, but I think it's going to be worth showing you how I came up with this and giving you some ideas. So this is a basic page. I've used the Pick a Pattern Designer Series paper as my page base, and it's 12 by 12. On the opposite side, it has the mushrooms, and I thought that this little check pattern would be wonderful to feature. Like, it's a small, it reads as a small print, sorry, and that would be good to accompany my large squares that mirror the design in the checks. So I have used a brand new stamp set called Sweet Little Something, and I've used this stamp set to create a bunny rabbit that's featured here, as well as the sentiments that are on the page. And this is a layering stamp set. It will be available in the 2018 Occasions catalog that is going to be released at the beginning of January. So it's a couple of months away, and I was given this to create some samples with. So this is going to be the very first sample share that I have created with this stamp set. So let's take a quick look at the stamp set. Since it's brand new, I'll give you one of the first looks at it. This is a layering stamp set, or as Stampin' Up calls it, a two-step, but it's actually more than a two-step. They also give you the suggested block sizes to use, which I find really handy in my crafting. Just to make sure I don't grab the wrong block and have to go back and get another one, I'll make sure that I have the large stamp images loaded up on the proper size block. You could also use a Stamp-A-Majig for this, and it might help you with your placing. So these large images here are to be layered on top of one another. This is the base layer, this is the number 2 stamp, and this is the number 3. I usually work from the less amount of detail forward to the most amount of detail with a darker ink. For this particular project, I have used Sahara Sand ink. So how I got this image here is that I first stamped with Sahara Sand, I stamped off and used a second generation of ink. And then I went and loaded up the Sahara Sand again, stamped off once again, and then stamped onto the image. And once that second layer of Sahara Sand piled on top of the first base layer, it gave me a darker result. So you can see some of the definition here. The third stamp is this one that's the most detailed, is actually a layer of clear embossing. It feels texturized, which is nice because this is supposed to be a texturized image. I mean, as far as it's a bunny and that holds some texture. So my kids will like it, but this image is clear, and so it's going to give depth and enhance the image color underneath it. And I can see that I like the results. It's not going to be something I do every single time, but adding this third stamp as a layer of clear embossing worked out really well for this project. One thing that I really like about this scrapbook page, other than my two little precious little bunnies, is the fact that I used a different technique that I tried out for this page. So I made this out of the layering squares dies. And when I cut the squares out, the white squares, and then the crumb cake squares are the same color, then I found a die that was a size smaller, and I did that also on this image here, but I did not do it on these three images. But I found a square that was one size smaller, and I flipped it over to deboss into the paper so that it would impress upon this square as a square inside of a square. Basically what it did was give a little finesse and shadows that the eye definitely picks up on. It might not come out and translate too well on the camera, but definitely you can see the shadows of a square within a square. So I've made that be a little bit of an enhancement. And these are the stamps that are from the stamp set. It says Hip Hop Hooray. And as you can see, Hip Hop Hooray is here. And I just did a little masking to get one word on each one of the blocks. So these kind of look like baby blocks to me. And both of my boys were 1 year old whenever these photos were respectively taken. This is from Number of Years, and this little banner is also from the Large Numbers die set, and this stamp that says Sweet Little Somebody fits perfectly inside. So I thought it would be great to translate out onto paper that they were 1 year old, and this little stamp fits absolutely perfectly. And I was able to match the Emerald Envy to Emerald Envy cardstock here and here, and I used the Emerald Envy ink and the Stampin' Write marker that gives my page a little bit of personalization about how the children were 1 year old. Now in the layout design, I want to just bring to focus that it's a circular design, or you could say that it's a round. The images are all placed together, and then the pearls are put in between to enhance the fact that this design, the layout, is circular. And these are squares, but that's okay because I've placed them in a circular design. And there, to top it off, to finish it off, I added some 1/8 inch Whisper White ribbon, and this is linen thread. And this is basically it. It's a very simple project. I apologize that I did not make a video, but I love this page so much that I wanted to record it finished while I have a moment to do so. And this will be seen at the OnStage in Salt Lake City. So if you're there and you are a follower of this YouTube channel, then please find me if I'm by my board and give me a hello and maybe a hug and how much you like to see the scrapbook pages, because I love to hear your feedback and I love to meet you as well. So I hope you like this page, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And I appreciate you choosing me as your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you do not already have a demonstrator and you would like to use my online store, visit me at jennystampsup.com and you can make your Stampin' Up! Purchase there. Thank you so much for joining me today for this special scrapbook page, and I'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day!